Am I an asshole for exposing my wife's affair during our anniversary dinner in front of her parents and friends? I'm a 36-year-old man, and I've been married to my wife Emily for 9 years. Up until recently, I really thought I had built something solid. We met in college, got married young, and went through the same ups and downs that every couple does. I thought we were stronger for it. We don't have kids, not for lack of trying. We went through a miscarriage a few years back, and after that it was too painful for her to keep trying. That experience bonded us even closer, or so I thought. We leaned on each other, and I truly believed nothing could shake us. Emily is an artist. She's incredibly talented, and people have always been drawn to her. She has this charisma that lights up any room she's in. I'm the opposite. I'm quieter, more practical. I've built my career as a software engineer, stable income, good benefits. I always thought we balanced each other out. She was the dreamer, I was the anchor. But the truth is, her family never liked me, especially her mother, Janet. From day one, she made it clear that she thought Emily married down. She told Emily more than once that I was boring and that she could have done better. I overheard her once telling her sister, "Emily always goes for safe choices instead of exciting ones." Emily defended me at first, but as the years went by, she started to stay quiet when her mother said things like that. Her dad is more reserved. Richard just sits back and avoids conflict. Emily's younger sister, Lauren, has always been kind to me, but she avoids picking sides in family drama. I guess I always knew I wasn't fully accepted, but I thought it didn't matter, because Emily chose me, not them. Then, about a year ago, Emily reconnected with an old college friend, Ryan. He had been in some of her art classes, and she told me they were just friends back then. He had moved back into town after his divorce, and of course, Emily wanted to support him, catch up, bring him around. At first, I didn't think much of it. I met him a few times, and he rubbed me the wrong way immediately. He was charming, loud, always making jokes that felt like they had an edge. He had this way of complimenting Emily in front of me, things like, "You've still got that spark, Em," or, "You've only gotten more beautiful with time." I laughed it off, but inside it made my skin crawl. Over the next months, Ryan became a fixture. He came to barbecues, dinners, even to family gatherings with her parents. Everyone acted like it was normal. Emily insisted I was paranoid when I raised concerns. She told me, "Ryan has always been part of my life. Stop trying to control who I see." But I noticed the changes. Emily started dressing up more when she knew she would see him. She spent more time at her studio, claiming late-night painting sessions. She was glued to her phone, smiling at texts, but locking the screen when I walked in. Then came the night I found the proof. Emily fell asleep on the couch one evening, her phone in her hand. A message popped up from Ryan. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The preview said, "Still thinking about last night. You taste like turpentine and honey." My stomach dropped. I unlocked the phone and scrolled. What I found crushed me. Months of messages. Flirty at first, then explicit. Hotel receipts. Plans to meet while I thought she was working. She even wrote that she wished she had met Ryan before me, that she sometimes wondered if she settled. I sat there for hours reading, until I couldn't anymore. I didn't wake her. I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. I just shut down. But something in me also snapped. Our 9th wedding anniversary was coming up. Emily wanted a big dinner at a fancy restaurant with her family and close friends. She pushed hard for it, saying it would be a celebration of love and survival. I realized this was my chance. I could have confronted her privately. But after years of her family looking down on me, after months of her lies, I decided I wanted the truth out in the open. No more whispering. No more pretending. So I booked the dinner. I acted like everything was normal. I played the loving husband, brought her flowers, joked with her about what to wear. Inside, I was counting down the days. The night came. Everyone was there. Her parents, her sister and brother-in-law, 2 of my coworkers, a couple of her artist friends, and Ryan. He walked in late, grinning, like he owned the room. We ate. We drank. Janet gave a little speech about how Emily had blossomed in marriage and how she was glad Emily had a steady rock like me, even if I wasn't the most exciting man. People chuckled nervously. I clenched my jaw. Then it was my turn. I stood up, holding my glass. I started with kind words, thanking everyone for coming, talking about how marriage is about trust and honesty. I saw Emily smile, thinking this was going to be a sweet, romantic toast. Then I pulled out my phone. I said, "But sometimes, trust gets broken. Sometimes, the person you think knows you best is lying to your face. And sometimes, that lie deserves to be brought into the light." I opened the messages and read them out loud, word for word. Emily and Ryan's texts, their plans, their hotel meetings. "I wish I had chosen you" messages. The room went dead silent. Emily's face went pale, then red, then pale again. Ryan muttered, "Man, this isn't the place," but I cut him off. "No, Ryan. This is exactly the place. Because I've spent 9 years being treated like I wasn't good enough for Emily. I've listened to Janet tell anyone who would listen that Emily settled. And through it all, I stayed loyal. I stayed faithful. I gave everything I had. But she didn't. And you didn't. Emily broke down sobbing. Her mom jumped in, screaming at me, calling me cruel, saying I was humiliating her daughter. I looked at her and said, "No, Janet, she humiliated herself. I'm just done covering for her." Richard stared at his plate, saying nothing. Lauren cried silently, while her husband Tyler glared daggers at Ryan. My coworkers looked like they wanted the floor to swallow them whole. Emily tried to reach for me, stammering apologies, but I pulled back. I ended my toast with, "So, happy anniversary, Emily. This marriage is over." And then I walked out. Since that night, everything has exploded. Emily has been begging me to meet, saying I was too harsh, that I could have confronted her privately. Her mom has been bombarding me with messages calling me heartless, saying I ruined her daughter's reputation. Even some friends have told me I should have handled it more discreetly. But here's the thing, I gave Emily 9 years of my life. I carried her through grief, through self-doubt, through her parents' constant criticism. And she threw it away for cheap thrills with a man she used to know in college. So maybe I was harsh, maybe it was cruel, but for once, I spoke my truth in front of the very people who had spent years doubting me. So, am I the asshole for exposing my wife's affair during our anniversary dinner instead of handling it behind closed doors? AITA for exposing my wife's affair with my younger brother and refusing to help them raise their child. I'm Daniel, 3 to him, and I've just lived through what feels like the cruelest betrayal of my life. I don't even know how to write this without feeling my hands shake, but I need to get it out. I've been married to my wife, Chloe 30th, for 5 years. We live in Chicago, where I work as a project manager for a tech firm and she runs a small online boutique. We met through mutual friends back in our mid-20s. She was bubbly, social, always the type to light up a crowded room. I was quieter, more grounded, the kind of guy who keeps his promises and shows up on time. Somehow, it worked. We fell in love quickly, moved in together, and got married a couple years later. I have one younger brother, Ethan to 9M. Growing up, Ethan was always the golden child. My parents adored him. He was charming, athletic, the kid everyone liked. Meanwhile, I was the responsible one, the one who did the right thing but never got much recognition for it. Ethan could get away with almost anything. If he messed up, it was boys will be boys. If I messed up, it was a disappointment. Even in adulthood, that dynamic never changed. Ethan drifted between jobs, always had excuses, and somehow always landed on his feet thanks to my parents bailing him out. I worked hard, built stability, bought a condo in the city. My parents would brag about Ethan's potential while treating my actual accomplishments like background noise. When I introduced Chloe to my family, everyone loved her. My mom especially. She said Chloe was the daughter she always wanted. At first, I was relieved finally, something we could all agree on. I thought Chloe helped bridge the gap between me and my family. But I noticed early on how much attention Ethan paid to her. He'd make little jokes, compliment her outfits, hover around her at family gatherings. I told myself it was just Ethan being Ethan, charming, flirtatious, not knowing boundaries. Fast forward to earlier this year, Chloe and I hit a rough patch. Her business wasn't doing well. She was stressed about money, and I was working long hours on a major project. We argued more than usual, mostly about finances and me not being emotionally available. I admit I could have done better, but I never imagined what she'd do next. A few months ago, Chloe announced she was pregnant. At first, I was overjoyed. I'd always wanted to be a dad, and even though the timing wasn't perfect, I thought this was the blessing we needed. My family was ecstatic. My mom cried. My dad shook my hand like I'd accomplished something monumental. But then, little things started gnawing at me. Chloe was distant. She didn't want to be intimate anymore. She flinched when I touched her stomach, as if I was intruding. She went to doctor's appointments without me, saying she didn't want to bother me during work. And then Ethan started hanging around more, too much more. He'd drop by our condo just to say hi. He'd text Chloe separately, things like, "How are you feeling today? Need anything?" I thought he was just being supportive, but the pit in my stomach told me something was wrong. The truth came out in the ugliest way possible. One night, I was at Chloe's boutique helping her with inventory when her phone buzzed. She was in the bathroom. The screen lit up with a message from Ethan. It said, "I can't wait until he knows the truth. It'll finally be us." My heart stopped. My hands went cold. I unlocked her phone. My gut told me I had to. What I found shattered everything. They'd been having an affair for almost a year. Ethan, my own brother. There were messages about sneaking around, about the pregnancy, about their plan to eventually tell me and do this the right way. One message from Chloe said, "I hate lying to him, but it's better this way. Once the baby is here, he'll have no choice but to accept it." I felt sick. I confronted her that night. She cried, begged, said she didn't mean for it to happen, that she was lonely, that Ethan understood her in ways I didn't. She admitted the baby was his. I can't even describe the rage I felt. I packed a bag and left that night, stayed at a hotel for a week. My parents called constantly, not to check on me but to defend Ethan and Chloe. My mom said, "Daniel, you've always been too hard on Ethan. He didn't mean for this to happen. You work so much." Of course Chloe felt neglected. My dad told me to be a man and forgive. I couldn't believe it. My own family siding with my cheating wife and brother. I filed for divorce immediately. Chloe begged me not to. She said, "Don't punish the baby for my mistakes." Ethan had the audacity to text me saying, "This doesn't have to ruin everything. We can all still be family. The divorce has been brutal." Chloe tried to go after my condo, claiming she contributed to the mortgage. She didn't. My parents actually showed up to court to support her, not me. I felt like I was living in some twisted nightmare. I kept my head down, focused on work. A few weeks ago, I got a big promotion at my company. Better salary, more stability, a fresh start. Foolishly, I posted about it online. That same night, I got a call from my mom. She said, "Daniel, you need to step up. Ethan's out of work, Chloe's struggling, and the baby is on the way. They need you." I laughed in her face. She got angry, said family means sacrifice. I told her, family ended the moment my wife and brother decided they belonged to each other. Then I hung up. The next day, Ethan showed up at my condo. He knocked on my door for 20 minutes straight until I opened. He looked desperate, not cocky like usual. He said, "Come on, man, help us out. You have more than enough. We're family." I stared at him, then said, "You're not my family. Not anymore." And I slammed the door in his face. The final straw came last week. Chloe called me, her voice sugar-sweet at first, then venomous. She said, "If you don't step up, I'll take you to court for more money. We'll use your promotion against you. You know the system favors mothers." But this time, I was ready. I'd hired a damn good lawyer. I had proof of their affair, proof the baby wasn't mine, testimony from friends who knew what was going on. When the dust settled, the court ruled I owed her nothing. No child support, no spousal support, nothing. When I walked out of that courthouse, it felt like the first breath I'd taken in months. But it wasn't over. My parents cornered me at their house last weekend. They said I'd betrayed the family, that Ethan and Chloe were struggling while I was selfishly living in luxury. They told me to reconsider, to be the bigger man. I told them, I am the bigger man. That's why I didn't burn this entire family to the ground when I had the chance. And then I walked out. I've cut contact with all of them, my parents, Ethan, Chloe. I kept a couple of close friends and my job. That's it. Part of me feels relieved, like I finally tore off a rotten limb. But another part of me wonders if I went too far. So, am I the asshole for exposing my wife's affair with my younger brother, divorcing her while she was pregnant, and refusing to help them now that they're struggling?